Fr0zen going up against Amnesiac. Fr0zen with a win here can start to climb back to #1 in his division, which we've come to get used to here at the Hearthstone Grandmasters. Amnesiac in 8th place in Division B. That is not where we hope Amnesiac usually lands, or it's not where we expect him to land. That's not where he wants to land. Amnesiac, after his defeat yesterday, moving to a 1-4 record, messaged me and was upset, to say the least. He was unhappy, saying, I am trying very hard this season, and it's not paying off. And after exchanging a few heel words, including me talking him down a little bit, I said, you know, a bunch of usual stuff like just play well, focus on what you can control, etc. I also said, don't be too arrogant, because these are also the best players in your region, or some of the best players, right? It doesn't have all of them, obviously, because you only can have 16. Focus on what is in front of you and try to get the wins. Now, that being said, turning it back to discussion before, TJ, I'm a big fan of the matchup that we're about to see, because for a while I was saying that I think that Hunter is an answer to the Priest, and I think that's what Fr0zen has brought his Hunter for this week. You said that it didn't get to pay off last time, but this is a matchup where it will pay off, and I think.
Yeah, and this is why we said before we had the featured matchup piece is that I think Fr0zen did gain an edge this week based off his lineup. I think that his lineup against the average lineup has more favorable matchups. It's just about whether or not he gets the panouts within those favorable matchups. And that's not really the opening hand that he wants, but that's a nice draw.
That's the opening hand he wants, but one secret can kind of make things come together because it makes the Eagle Horn bow better.
Yes.
Part of the reason why I feel like the Hunter is good against the Priest because it has an assortment of secrets that are really dominant against it. Freezing Trap, Pressure Plate, Rat Trap. Rat Trap's really good in this spot.
Oh, yeah.
Priest is very combo-oriented with a bunch of cheap stuff. So they don't really want to play Rat Trap. If they play spells, they lose the minion with Pressure Plate. If they attack with a big minion, Freezing Trap bounces back and loses all their buffs. Then you mix in things like Deadly Shot, and you mix in other ways for you to push the issue with like Bran. I think this matchup's really good for Hunter. And Fr0zen probably a little bit happy that he drew the secret on 2, because now his hand looks way better.
Oh, yeah. So much better. And also with this Hunter deck, it just made there's so much room for the Priest to misplay.
Yeah.
And it's not even like atrocious misplays. It's just like you played around the wrong secret.
Well, drawing things a little bit in reverse order. Secret Keeper comes after the secret. Now Fr0zen can eliminate the Light Warden.
Yeah, and then silence the Northshire Cleric next turn. It's working out quite nicely.
Yes. Silence
the Northshire Cleric, and at the same time, he's got kind of insurance against these massive swings because he has the Rat Trap up. So Amnesiac has tested for Explosive Trap, Freezing Trap, and Pressure Plate. So there's still Snake Trap and Rat Trap that he needs to account for in the deck. I don't think Fr0zen plays... Snipe. He also tested for Snipe. For some reason, I thought Fr0zen wasn't playing Snipe, but he is. Kind of weird not to play it, but for some reason, when I did the initial view of the list, I did not see it.
Psycho Pomp to get the Light Warden out. I think this makes a lot of sense for most tempo against the Hunter. Zephyrus introduced. So Zephyrus offers possibilities for removal in this position. The thing is, I don't know how much Zephyrus reads into card, text, and mechanics.
Yeah, I think
so
this is a
Spellbreaker.
Yeah. The more mana you have available, pretty much the stronger it's going to get. A couple of key ones to this matchup are Shadow Word Pain, which High Priest and Meta drawn.
Ooh.
Seems decent.
That is good, because now Amnesiac can flip his Northshire Cleric with the Topsy-Turvy and then play High Priest and Met, and now have a 2/7 that what in his mind should go uncontested, but Fr0zen has a Zephyrus for removal. And it's kind of like what we're talking about, where if you have Zephyrus against this deck in general, even if you're Zoo Warlock, that might be all you need.
Yeah, and you know, it's that you only need one swing. And the reason why this Hunter deck, while a lot of times it doesn't feel like it's super powerful against Priest, because oftentimes it doesn't get on board quick unless you have a Secret Keeper, it delays things because the Priest oftentimes tiptoes around your secrets, and it buys you time to pick up Zephyrus, to pick up additional secrets, to pick up Subject 9 and Dino Tamer Brand.
Zephyrus, Shadow or Pain is what I'm thinking about immediately. I think that Fr0zen does have the room to drop the Secret Keeper as well.
Yep.
Amnesiac slowly being choked out of this game. Does still have some backup options with that Accolade of Pain. One thing that I'm starting to really appreciate, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, is Vulpera Scoundrel in decks that don't have a lot of early game plays. Vulpera Scoundrel feels very similar to like how important some of those other decks like Big Spell Mage, not Big Spell Mage, like Control Mages and doing all this stuff that relied on like Primordial Glyph, because it helps you get like the right spell to help get into those positions to like remove everything or to find extra burn and whatnot. Warriors are starting to play Vulpera Scoundrel a lot to find the answer to things.
Whoa!
Quickly.
So this is pretty interesting to me. I wasn't expecting the Scoundrel right now, but I think Fr0zen, one, wants to save Zephyrus, but two, I wonder what spells that he was potentially looking for in the future, because the one thing about Hunter spells is that they don't really remove very well. They tend to do a lot of damage or have synergy with like their beasts. He does find Animal Companion.
Whoa.
This secret is also very annoying for Amnesia.
It is very annoying. I think that's the value. From Fr0zen's perspective, Snipe is not that strong of a secret on the board because it doesn't interact with what's already there.
How does the snipe work with the Amet, TJ?
I think the Amet happens first, at least when you consider like other effects similar to it. Like we saw earlier the interaction between Neferset Ritualist, where the Amet happens first and then the heal happens. I think when you play a minion on board, the Amet will happen and then the secret will proc. It's the same reason why battle cries happen before secrets are procced.
So if Amnesiac plays Accolade of Pain, he should draw a card and it should be down to 3 health.
Yes. Amnesiac could even Beaming Sidekick. Oh no, Accolade of Pain would actually be better in that situation. What? That's interesting.
Hey, I got you, friend.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Amnesiac, in my opinion, wanted to get a little bit extra health, but may have missed a card draw source here. Now Fr0zen gets to go for Master Spell. Master Spell.
That's what he was looking for.
Yeah. He gets
He's
like
praying
the
for it
ultimate
because
punish.
there's a chance that it may not give it.
Shadow or Pain. Fr0zen's like, what? This is a perfect Master Spell board. But here's the thing. Zephyrus doesn't analyze things like card text, so he doesn't know what Amet does. But he sees like an Accolade of Pain and it wants to kill it. And in his mind, things like Shadow or Pain are much more valuable to remove the minion altogether. This is a debate that a lot of people have. Like, if there's like a Death Rattle minion, I'd much rather have like Hex than Shadow or Death or Shadow or Pain. And you have to understand, like, this is what Zephyrus offers you based off of the range of stuff. That being said, I've seen Master Spell offered a lot, and it tends to be against taunts.
Yes.
And Death Rattles. It doesn't tend to be offered against things like Accolade of Pain.
So
Fr0zen's like feeling very upset about that. Or maybe he's laughing because he's like, this did not go the way I thought it was going to go.
Yeah. So Fr0zen was setting up for Master Spell, but obviously since you got Shadow Ward Pain here, it just would have been better to Shadow Ward Pain last turn.
Yeah, and then Amnesiac sat up in his chair like, oh my gosh, am I about to get wrecked? And now the Cleric comes back, or the Lightworm comes back with 9 health.
Yeah, I think that's just Fr0zen kind of being
oh,
tilted there.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay, so how much, is this lethal? This is lethal.
You inner fire the Amet, you bump once, it heals. No, it's not. There's no Wild Pyromancer. The Lightworm only gains 6 attack. 8 attack because you get to heal up the Beaming Sidekick.
Yep.
So it's 9 plus 9,
18.
18. Wait, no. How much health does the Beaming Sidekick have?
7?
It has 7, yeah. I was thinking you could push 1 extra. Wait, can he bump, then heal, then circle?
Yes! That is cool!
And then
He
circle.
found it!
He found it! All right, it was lethal.
That's the plays I'm looking for, Young Savage.
Woo!
Fr0zen can't believe it. How did he die from that position? And the answer was Zephyrus doesn't offer you the perfect card that you think he wants. He offers what he thinks is the perfect card in that situation.
And that one's really tough, right? Because
Because you could argue that when you play Master Spell, you're still leaving a lot of like power on the board, so to speak.
yeah, obviously results-oriented thinking. Zephyrusing instead of playing the Valkyrie Scoundrel was better, but I like what Fr0zen did because if Amnesiac only plays 1 minion there, it doesn't offer mind control tech, and it's probably Master Spell in that spot.
Are you sure?
If he plays,
here's the thing, TJ.
Yes, with Acolyte of Pain on board.
I
and
want to
4
say
mana
this
left.
really quickly, and then we'll go to break.
Okay.
Is that I think that a lot of players aren't putting enough time into actual Zephyrus play time
Yes.
and understanding it. Yesterday, I even misheard PNC. I thought he said something else, but he was saying like, "Oh, potentially get like Mossy Horror off of Zephyrus." You can't do that. It's
Not a
classic
classic
basic
card.
cards. I thought he was referring to deck list. I looked at the deck list, but I couldn't see it because I didn't have the deck list in front of me, so
Yeah.
I wasn't sure to confirm. But someone messaged me like, "Did he just say that he can get Mossy Horror? That's not even possible." Players need to be able to understand what the cards do, and there's a lot of play testing, and that goes into it. And you have players like Orange who's tweeting us like, "This is what Zephyrus can offer in situations X, Y, Z," and he's tweeting this to us
Orange,
and letting us know.
Yeah, he even told us that they practice specific Zephyrus interactions. They
and
play
some players
games.
aren't.
They play games just to see what Zephyrus is going to give them based off current board states. Like
And
yesterday,
that's an important thing to know.
he mentioned Blood Knight with Zephyrus and the interaction between Shaman. Like if you Blood Knight a board full of Anoyatrons, will it give Blood Knight from Zephyrus? And 2, will Blood Knight activate from Shaman hero power as well? Since it only removes the Divine Shield once, but technically the Battle Cry is
Triggers twice.
it doesn't get the buff.
No, it doesn't. So
And nobody would know that except for someone who would specifically test the interaction or a one-off case for someone random who ran into that interaction sometime. So, it's something, man.
It's something, and I think it's rewarded Amnesiac with a Game 1 victory, although I got to say, I was really expecting to go the other direction. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Game number 2 between Fr0zen and Amnesiac.
Shadows are rising again, darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers, and up from the dusty tombs, they grab their whips and fedoras. These legends of the past know exactly what to do. There might be magic monsters, mummies in the markets, and ancient mysticism. There should be scorching deserts, adventure, monster of narcissism. High stakes think annihilation, obliteration of civilization. Now is the time to be brave. Evil's come to enslave, but this league's gonna save the world.
My name is David Chan. In the game, I go by Just Saying. My username is just kind of a pun, right? But over the years, I think it's grown to mean a lot more to me. Playing Hearthstone for 4 to 5 years, I've probably won like 35,000 games, which means I've lost like 30,000 games. So definitely going back and forth and picking up after every loss. And that's kind of what the anime embodies, right? Is like you lose a fight, you almost die, and then you come back stronger. So being in Grandmasters, especially coming to the summit and everything, it feels like you have just a wide, diverse range of amazing players. And now it's, at least at the start here, it feels like we have a new responsibility to represent Hearthstone, to represent, how fun and competitive that this game can be to the best that we can. So for me, the X factor has to be, I think, just I'm good at finding an edge where other players aren't exactly looking, and then trying to drive as much as I can into that so that I have an even bigger edge at the end of the day. Personal goals for the year: get into the 2 spots from North America to make it to the grand finals this year. I mean, I'm saying this like right after Worlds, but I'm just dying to get back in there, you know?
My name is Fr0zen, also known as Bloodyface. When I first started playing Hearthstone, the first deck that I crafted was Miracle Rogue, and it was pretty much the only deck I played. I love combo style decks. I don't like really being aggressive per se, but I like having a deck that has a very aggressive finish. I think my X factor, maybe my defining characteristic, is that I think about everything. I mean, you could say that's like a characteristic of overthinking, but I think it's important to overthink because you're playing against like the best minds, and it's important to be understanding that everyone else is also capable of doing that, so you need to be able to outthink everybody. From a competitive standpoint, I want to improve as a player. Against Hunter Ace, I think I made a pretty big mistake. I really care about just making sure that whenever I play Hearthstone, it's my best Hearthstone. Initially, when I found out about Grandmasters, I kind of felt like, it was just like kind of another league. But it wasn't until I was actually standing next to the other Grandmasters at Worlds that it made me feel like kind of emotional. We just had such a high concentration of like pure talent to actually hit that level and, rub shoulders alongside them. It means a lot to me. Playing at the highest level is super interesting because people do unpredictable things. So I look forward to the mind games.
Amnesiac up 1-0 over Fr0zen after some confusing Zephyrus interaction, and I think it's only confusing because I don't feel like Fr0zen has put enough time into the Zephyrus. I'm going to say it, you gotta prepare more. Fr0zen has tweeted that he was like spending a lot of time hanging out with friends in Korea and like enjoying the time of his life, and that's great and all. I'm all for mental health. I was tweeting about it, having some time off from the internet and relaxing and being in the presence of your loved ones, great stuff. But when it comes down to it, you can't be tweeting things like having preparation for this format is overhyped and overrated, and then go on and be unprepared for a situation which was completely avoidable. I'm willing to put a lot of money that if he played Zephyrus on 5, he would have found an answer to the Ahmed, which meant that actually would have been a 1-3, which would have made it a much more reasonable board to answer. Yeah. And he had such a good hand compared to his opponent. It would have been perfectly fine for the rest of the game.
It was inner fire, circle appealing,
right?
Beaming sidekick, right?
Yeah,
if the Acolyte ping comes down, that's what it is.
I think that was a game that should have gone the other direction. And I still stand by my statement that I think Hunter is great against Priest.
I think it is, yeah. I think his draw was decent. It wasn't the best because obviously you want like pressure plate and freezing trap in those instances. And sure, a Secret Keeper start to throw in there. But when you're offered Zephyrus, you got to make the best of it. Let's go into game number 2 here. Fr0zen's going to be playing the Combo Priest and Amnesiac on the Zoo Warlock. So, again, we're going to get to see this matchup. And, again, Amnesiac does not have Spirit Bomb. But, again, I still like this matchup.
Bring victory.
I think we're seeing Zoo falter. But I do think that this matchup is a decent one. I'm throwing away everything, and I'm looking for Flame Imp.
Definitely not keeping the Cable Rat. Never said Thrasher and Disease Vulture is something to hesitate, but when you're going first and you're on the play, yeah. Mecharoo, Evil Genius, not the best, but not the worst.
I mean,
okay.
It's good.
That's the juice.
Yeah,
that's the juice.
This is a good opening hand. Again, not the best, but it is a good opening hand.
And I kind of wonder from Amnesiac's point of view, does he want to abuse his Sergeant this immediately, or does he want an Evil Genius?
That's a tough thing.
Well, now it's not so tough. Now it's absolutely not so tough of a question.
Now it's fantastic.
Yeah, I would argue that you still want to, even this position, because the fact that injured Tolvir has potential to heal beyond the 2-3 health makes it very difficult, formidable to deal with.
He is an answer to injured Tolvir's circle of healing.
In the light's name. Hey, I got you, friend.
He can answer this also.
Ken, I think Amnesiac might consider how he can use the rest of the mana, but Evil Genius doesn't really fit here. Style points. It didn't really matter where he positioned it. Yeah. Fr0zen's in trouble.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a good pickup. Probably looking for something to keep this up. Ooh, never set Ritualist.
So Circle of Healing gives +3 health here, so it'd be 2-8. Makes it pretty resilient against Grim Rally buffs. It's probably one of my biggest concerns. I think I need this minion to stick. I'm very much willing to throw Circle of Healing in this position. There's not many ways that Zoo can really punish when you play 2-8. Play as a 2-8. I think Fr0zen's consulting the deck list and just kind of trying to see if his discovery lines up with that.
I really like all-inning in this matchup. I think that Zoo Warlock struggles when they are forced into a line of play, and Amnesiac's line of play would have to be to kind of go wide and not let this Never Say Ritualist get out of range of anything. Sea Giant, not the best.
Yeah, but Disease Vulture doesn't really get answered easily, so Amnesiac does have that available to him.
Yeah.
Another option he can go for is Evil Genius, but there's not many things that he can really do with that.
No. Yeah, I think Disease Vulture here, probably the play. It gets answered by Inner Fire.
Right.
But you're willing to kind of take that risk. If Inner Fire comes out, you're
right. And the upside of Disease Vulture not getting answered is really high. Fr0zen might have to silence this 4-5. Seems like it's a good old battle between what Fr0zen has and Fr0zen minions versus Amnesiac minions, rather. I don't think this is a Ritualist setup here. I think Acolyte of Pain is much more important.
Yep.
Okay, that's a big pickup for Amnesiac, because now he has a body for both his sacrifice and for a lackey. I think Amnesiac's immediately looking for a Goblin Lackey of some sort.
Yeah, Goblin Lackey, Kobold Lackey would suffice here. Even Faceless Lackey wouldn't be too bad.
Titanic Lackey's interesting too, because that stops the Acolyte from getting an easy trade.
Kind of every Lackey that had some semblance of board presence was good in that spot, which is kind of interesting. Doesn't always happen. All right, so Light Warden and Injured Tolvir in the pool right now. Also a Beaming Sidekick in the pool.
It's really hard to turn down the Ritualist gaining 7 health.
Yeah, that's true. He can even bump and then heal it back up again.
If you bump, it goes up to 7 life because it takes 3 damage. So it goes to a 2-8, down to 2-5, up to a 2-7. There's 6 power on the board.
Ooh.
Seems good to me.
But you're going to leave 6 minions on board.
6 minions would make Sea Giant very affordable.
Yeah.
Also, with more minions, makes Grim Rally a bigger threat.
He doesn't have a way to just kill it, though. That's the problem. But, okay, Acolyte of Pain trade, I think that was the big question mark that I had.
Oh, now with Circle of Healing, that makes Psychopomp something to consider here for Fr0zen, because now he has Acolyte.
Quickly.
Does have the Light Warden.
Right.
If he had a Northshire Cleric in the pool, I think Psychopomp would have been the play.
Yeah. But Amnesiac's got a very powerful turn on his hands. 5 mana Sea Giant to start. Faceless Lackey reduces that to 3.
So Ethereal Lackey first?
Ethereal Lackey first. If you find Grim Rally, you're cooking.
I think if you find even Plague of Flames, I'd consider pulling the trigger on it.
Whoa, really?
I'd consider it. Well, Demon Bolt is...
oh my gosh. So
it becomes really cheap.
Demon Bolt would be... Does he have enough mana? So he has 4 minions on board. Faceless Lackey is 6. Sea Giant's 7. He does. He has enough mana for Demon Bolt. Because you Faceless Lackey, then Sea Giant, and then you have 2 mana remaining.
Yes. It looks like it works out
What?
perfectly. Everything just synergizes really well. Why are we not playing Demon Bolt in the Zoo Warlock?
Too inconsistent. Oh my goodness.
You sure?
Yes.
It's one of those situations where we heard Gallon say, Plague of Flame is nuts off of Ethereal Lackey.
So is Demon Bolt when you have 7 minions on board. And Fr0zen has no chance.
Well, he does have Psycho Palm.
There's a Sea Giant on board.
The end begins.
Decent outcome. But it's like you said, and Amnesiac also got a couple of other things there which are nice, like the Amani Berserker.
Oof.
Is that a Grim Rally?
Oh, oh my goodness. All right.
Yeah, this one's looks like it's a lock.
Yep.
Now, Amnesiac could play these cards first. Ethereal Lackey again. You can trade in, play the Evil Cable Rat, then Grim Rally, only ditching the Abusive Sergeant. Abusive Sergeant is more damage, though. You know what? Maybe he just says forget the Evil Cable Rat.
Siphon Soul. Easy.
Warlock has pretty decent removal tools. It's just that if you play a defensive Warlock style and all you have is removal, you often don't have enough tempo to win the game. Amnesiac crushing Fr0zen's face right now. And Fr0zen, if he plays Bonswamdi, he's dead. It looks like there's nothing to do. That's going to wrap it up. Amnesiac gets a crucial victory. 2-4 now. Staying alive in his division. Going down to 1-5. And vice versa. If Zalay got the win, Amnesiac would have been in huge trouble.
And more importantly, that was clean.
That was clean
Amnesiac.
play.
That was very clean. The lethal spot in game number 1, just really clean game number 2 with his start. One mistake, like one mispositioning, one like you're not playing as much power you can on the board, you're going to lose against Priest because you can see that it lives on kind of that knife's edge there. Obviously, at the end, he snowballed, but that was made possible by the fact that just a clean early game. So it feels like most of our wins today have not been that clean, or at least some of them, I should say. I want to be fair here. So it's nice to see him just take the opportunity, capitalize, and take a clean 2-0.
Purple's win was pretty fine, I would say, but now Gadon and Gallon definitely had some rocky moments by their own admission on camera. They're like, wow, I played that really badly. So going to match number 4 here, Amnesiac takes the win. He's joining us on the line for a couple of words. Will, you there?
Yeah, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Congrats. First of all, congratulations on moving into the college dorm. How's the college life so far?
It's good, I'm getting around.
Nice.
It's been fun.
All right. Motivation still high. Talk to us a little bit about the past couple weeks from you. Seems like you've had some set of rough games. Has it affected you at all going into today's match?
I've been really frustrated lately because I've been working pretty hard and I sort of just didn't get to play Hearthstone for like 3 matches, which obviously happens. I mean, it was like 7 games. But yeah, both my matches last week and then my first match against Monsanto this week, I felt like I just didn't really get to affect the outcome of the game too much. But this series, I had like some real decisions that I think I made correctly. And like the first game especially, like, I don't know, I killed him exactly. So I'd like to think that if I made any mistakes, I probably don't win that game.
Yes.
Yes.
And then game 2, I felt like very clean. Like I knew how to play that matchup. I was like, okay, I literally put the second Abusive Sergeant in my deck because like I was like, well, against Priest, it's really insane to have these buff cards. So that's why I run it over the second Crystallizer. So to like hit the Abusive and have it be good. I was like, oh, sweet. My prep really paid off. But yeah, I mean, I've been a little frustrated, but I don't know. I mean, obviously I talked to you about it, Dan, and it's just like there's nothing you can do except for everything you can do, right? So just because things aren't going your way, that's not a reason to not keep working as hard as I can. And I think I've still been working hard and playing really well. So I actually still have high hopes, even though it's been a rough start for this season.
Absolutely. And we saw from the previous season, too, players who were really far behind, yourself included, had a chance to go to playoffs no matter how rocky of a start it began. Let's talk a little bit about that prep. Your opponent, Fr0zen, I think should have won first game. And he even had a moment where, like, Zephyrus came down. I think he was hoping for a Mass Dispel to really...
Oh, yeah, I can't believe it didn't give it to him. I was so afraid. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to beat this.
I think that that could be one of those things where Zephyrus, it might be a bug, maybe you should offer it, or it could be the fact that some players, they're really testing out Zephyrus interactions there. The reason why I bring it up is because Fr0zen had a comment on Twitter just a few hours ago before the match saying that he feels like preparation for this format is overhyped and not really that impactful. And then you're talking about how much you are preparing. Do you feel like that kind of lines up to similar conclusions based off what you were describing?
I mean, like, you can complain about the format or you can try and win, I guess. Like, there's sort of two ways to go about it. And I don't see how, like, being upset about how the format is or how much control I have is really going to improve my chances of winning. So it tends to produce better outcomes for me to just work as hard as I can regardless of the environment that I'm in. Got it.
How do you find juggling the balance currently? I mean, most people's first couple weeks in university tends to be pretty hectic and whatnot. How much are you being able to balance the real life versus being a Hearthstone pro?
I've just been really busy, but I've been able to do pretty much everything. I don't know. I did acapella auditions today and then came and played my match. Like, I've been playing tennis most days. I've been able to go to the gym and stuff. I'm doing well in my classes. It's just I'm pretty much always doing something.
Wow.
I don't know, but I don't know. Like, I'm sort of used to being busy. I like being busy. I've been able to make friends here still, which is good. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think anyone can do it, really. They just have to be good at managing their time.
Does your acapella group have a cool name?
Well, I'm not in one yet, Tej.
You auditioned, but does the acapella group that you're hoping to get into have a cool name?
The Doo-Wop Shop would be an excellent addition to my repertoire.
Okay.
All right.
I'm glad. That made me happy, Will.
Yeah, I heard Here Comes Trouble is also looking for some members. All right, Amnesiac, thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on a much-needed victory, and we'll see you back next week.
All right, I'll catch you later, guys.